Alright guys, so welcome back. This is going to be the second stream with the AR Lego game. Now, as you can tell, my camera is actually on the good side. Last time we left, it wasn't on the good side, it was flipped vertically. So what I did is I've did some research. This is something that pretty much only happens with Logitech webcam and also some kind of device such as the Nexus 6. So if you guys have the same exact problem as I do, let me just share with you the script I've got. It's under my AR camera on the camera object. So this object here, there is going to be a script that you have to make that I've called camera vertical flip. Now the scripts looks like something like that. It's not too complicated. It's actually hooked to some callback in Unity, so on post render and on pre render. On the prequel as well. So these are the function. I'm just going to leave them here for a second. Scroll down when I'm ready. And it's actually quite a nice day to do some streaming. It's actually starting to snow outside. First day of snow here where I live. Alright, let's move down a bit. Let me zoom out so that goes faster. So like I said, this script is only useful for me right now because my Logitech webcam decides that it's a good idea to just flip vertically. For some reason, I don't know, but that's what it does. And what is most likely going to happen is when I build this to my phone, which is a Nexus 5, it doesn't have that problem on my phone. I've tested it earlier. I'm going to have to just simply disable this script so it doesn't actually flip around. Something to note though is that it just flips the image. It doesn't really flip the logic. And what I mean by that, it's actually only going to flip your texture. You see, as right now you can tell there's like a second delay before it actually flips. But usually you have the trademark somewhere here in Vuforia, so somewhere down here. Well, it's gonna be upside down up here now. Also depending on what kind of device you have. So let's just get back right into it. So we have a whole game to make here, and I'm gonna try to cover a lot of stuff today. So last time it was just, setting up the Vuforia, setting up the camera. Right now what I want to do is actually scale down the blocks so I can actually see my target. If you guys remember, we have our target, here it is. And our target spans a really big grid, I guess. And you can click on the grid with your mouse, it's gonna span blocks. And then of course you can make like shapes around that, and it's just what a good time. Now what I'd like to do in this episode is actually rescale those blocks, make them a little bit smaller. And by that I mean if you make them a little bit smaller, you're gonna be able to see more what's going on. So some kind of thing like that. And we also done something else last episode that I'm going to undo. It is the multi-target. I don't want to be like tracking multiple target. So let me just put that on 1 again. And we're going to remove the sphere targets, the base target 1 in my case. We're going to stick around with the foundations, add the mesh render again, and maybe scale it down. I was thinking about something like 0.25 on both axes. Now if we try this out, it doesn't fit with our cubes, which is quite normal. At this point, we have a lot of things to change to make this happen. So let's head over to our actual controller script, our game manager. And I'm going to declare at the very top hand side here, I'm going to declare a private float, actually private const float. That is going to be the block size. Or you know what, let's not make it constant. Let's make it so in the middle of your game you can be swapping block size. So private float, block size. Let's start with a quarter of what we currently have, so 0.25, since they're 1 by 1 right now. We're gonna say they're now 0.25, and we gotta be making all our calculation fit with this, which is gonna be quite a mess, to be honest. So let's start reading into it. Oh, and something else I was thinking about is we went through a really hard time just creating this block array, but we don't really need it in the end. We could simply be spawning objects pretty much anywhere. Which is something I've thought about doing, and I think I'm going to give it a try today. So let's just remove that. Can we remove that without breaking anything? I don't think so, so let's just have a look. So we have our array here, we're checking the array. I'm not familiar with my code anymore, it's been like, what, 5 days? Okay, you know what? For now, we're gonna leave it there, but eventually I want to get rid of it. Alright, so let's go and look at the block offset. Now, block offset 0.5, 0.5, that's supposed to be correct, but it is not in this case. We're gonna do 0.5 times block size. Are we allowed to do that here? We are not, and the simple reason is we can't really use something that has been declared to declare something else. So basically what we're gonna do here is just take this line and write it down here. Let's not declare block offset at the very beginning. Let's declare it in the start instead. Foundation center stays there, that's fine. So we're gonna say 0.5 times block size times block size, and also times block size. Now when we instantiate them, which is instantiate at those two places, let's also make sure we scale them down. So geo, the transform the local scale, is equal to a new, actually to a vector3 1 times block size. Now vector3 1 is just a 1 1 1 vector. So if we do a times block size on this, that gives 0.25, 0.25, and also 0.25. Gonna be putting that down here as well. So every block that we actually create are gonna be 0.25 in length. Now I think we're good with this. We just have to deal with the positioning. As you can tell, positioning is all wrong, but at least the size is better. Okay, how does it look now? Looks something like this. So we definitely have a lot of placement to do, and sorry if I just keep hitting my mic. I've moved it around. My mic is now on my left side, and I keep hitting it with my stupid paper. But don't worry about that. I'll eventually get past it. Okay, so where do we go? Well, position block would be a good place to start. But what happens is we get the index. Okay, so this is where the actual array that I want to remove comes in. This is really annoying, actually. Can we do something about that array? So we do index is equal to block position, we get it via this. And we stop every meter here. Okay, let's quickly think about how we could bypass this mechanic. I'm seeing something here, so what we're going to be doing is actually calculating the float where we are right now. So let's do float x is equal to hit.x or hit.point.x, or you know what, hit.x is gonna work. And now divided, should we do a divide? Yeah, let's do divided by block size. So let's just assume then we were hitting at 0.10, that gives us 0.10 divided by block size, which is going to give you something weird, 0.10 divided by 0.25. Am I thinking this too much? Am I thinking this through? I don't think I am. Or this is actually going to work. Okay, so this is going to give you index 0 if we truncate the decimals. Okay, that might be complicated, but I have a plan. Trust me, I've got a plan. If we do int x, and we cast this as an int, then I'm just going to just make sure everything here is blurred. Going to return 0, 0, 0 here for now, and we are going to simply debug.log what we have. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look at the console down there. That would be 14. Okay, am I on the wrong side? I don't even know. But the more I go on this side now, that gives us 5 here. 5 is not going to work. That is quite annoying indeed. Let's not collapse so we can see everything. So that's 14, that's fine. 12, 9, 9, 8, and finally 5. Why 5? What if we only debug the hit position? Then we might be able to create a an algorithm based on that. Okay, so this is 1.3, 1.4. Do we even start at 0? I have a feeling we never really start at 0 here. In X at least. So why is that the case? Why do we never start on hey, that's me. Why do we never start on 0? Where's my object? Here it is. And it seems like there's like some kind of offset that I really don't like here for some reason. It's probably because it's because we actually resized the foundation plane, that is why. So we gotta be finding a way to actually take this back to the origin, which is right here. Before it was at the right place because it was 0.5 and we just moved it to this area, but now it's 0.25, so I think we're gonna be having to move this to minus 125 in X and also minus 125 in Z, which is currently what we have. And the foundation that's also moved out in the center. Also, not the foundation, but the base target. Oh, okay, so I see that. Never mind, that's just me being messed around. So 2.5 minus 1.25, which gives us 1.25 here in X and Y. In X and Z for the base target, not for the foundation image. Let's try this again. Okay, so we've got this thing going on. If I click here, that gives us 0, and then it starts over everything. So 0, 3, 5, blah, 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 until we reach 2.25. And at this point, I think we can actually try and get an index out of that. Is that possible? I think it is possible. Final test before we actually put this into motion. Index 0, index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. That's not how you count, by the way, but it does work, so it gets me what I want. Going to be doing this for the Y and the Z as well. So hit that Y, hit that Z, and just by using this logic, we could also be creating cubes that are in different size. So maybe a cube that is higher in Z would also work here. And now the index we return is gonna be X, Y, Z in this case, but I'm just looking at the whole code we have, I'm just looking at the old code we have, and we were using the foundation center before, but I don't even think we have to use that anymore. So let's just write it that way, and if it works, we can eventually just scrap down some code. I really love getting rid of code. That's one of my favorite things, pressing on the delete button. So we do get some really weird behavior here where we don't have enough place in our index, so let's fix that right away. Our index is now going to be something like 25, 25, and 25. We should actually do a times 4 on that. So should we do it times 4? Sure. 20, 20, 20. Alright. So we're spawning this. I see some blocks spawning, I just don't know where they are right now. They seem to spawn at the origin, okay. So we almost got something in this case. They're still spawning way too far. Let's go see our position block function. That's block position, we want position block. So how do we go about doing this? Transform, index. What is this index actually? I think this index is the it's the index in the array, right? So we gotta be moving this over to something else. Or what we could be doing is index plus block offset times, I'm going to be putting this in priority first, times block size. See if we can have this work. Alright, here we go again. Okay, so they are definitely just closer. The z-axis, the y-axis doesn't work. But at least the cubes are actually sticking next to each other, which is quite cool. And they seem to overlap as well, so this is something we're gonna have to deal with. And there's an offset, of course. So what about the offset? Foundation object dot transform dot position minus foundation center. Foundation center is probably wrong by now. It's probably not at 2.5, it's probably at 1.25 in this case. So 1.25 in both axes. Nope, caught me in the middle of my break. Why is this not working? Oh, there it is. Okay, so we're getting something here. Having some problems though with the clicks, as you can tell. I'm like clicking. Oh, it's probably when I click on another block, it gives me like the old logic we have. But it seems to work. Oh, no, there's a small offset we need to fix, but it seems to work other than that. Let's go ahead and fix our offset first. Where is the offset? The block offset is here. So 0.5 times that's a little bit stupid, is it? I have a feeling that this is very stupid. Let's only do block size. So a vector 3 dot 1 times block size. Let's do block size divided by 2. I think that makes sense. Alright, this should work. In my head it works at least. And I believe. Still has a little offset. Let's manually calculate it. So what is that offset exactly? This guy is at 2.75. So we gotta be moving this a bit. 2.75. 2.375. Okay, that's even more complicated. So I really don't know at this point. What if we just move that by the block size? Kind of tired of holding my piece of paper in the air. Nope, now we're actually beyond that. I could just take like a second and actually think about it, but I'd rather just try things out. Okay, so let's put that on hold while I have a brain fart. Sounds like a very good plan. So the block offset, if we just think about it, the block offset should always be the distance in between the center and one of the sides of the side. So that is the block size. Block size would be, say, 0.25 in this case, which gives us a diameter of let's go check it out. This is a normal cube. This is our cube. So it's basically divided by 4. Before it was 0.4, now it's before that it was 0.5, and now all we have to do is divide it by 4. So how about we just do it manually like that for now, and then we'll scale with the block size when we have to. Okay, so this should actually give us the good offset. Now, is that going to fit on the grid? I don't know, but at least we have the good offset. There is still a 0.5 somewhere that is just messing around with our cubes. But hey, we can figure that out a little bit later on. It's probably in the position block function here. Anyway, let's go back to spawning cubes, because one of the cube is actually being spawned too far up, and I think this is right here. No, that's a scale. That doesn't make any sense. We just put that. Hit point, hit that normal. Okay, so hit that normal is going to push you 1 meter away, but we don't really want that in this case. We want to be hit that normal times block size. We want to go that far. And this should fix our very weird behavior we had a second ago. So let's try this again. As you can tell, we can now stack them at the same place. And it's just back to normal, but now we have a really smaller grid we can actually have a look at and create bigger stuff with it. Seems like we're still spawning stuff on top of each other, which is not really cool. Like right now I can actually spawn almost spawn in front. But if we go on this side, it works. Okay, now about this side it works. What about this one? This side is glitchy, as you can tell. I have to click twice. Okay, so we'll have to go back and actually check out our mechanic. But as you can tell, we've made such a nice design here. Made by hands, by a real craftsman. If you want to hire me for like your Minecraft server, I'm definitely down for that. Okay. Let's have a sip of tea for a second. Think about what we have, and we're gonna move on to... We really have a small script. We're gonna move on to this thing. The array. Because we're not putting everything at the right place, which is kind of annoying, if you ask me. How would we go about fixing this thing? First, this is supposed to be in the center of the world, and it is. Let's try spawning a block right on top of that. So we're fixing the offset right now, actually. And right here, this is where I want to be spawning a block. It's obviously... Oh, is it on the right side, actually? It's not. It was on the other side. Right here. So let's have a look at this. 0.25 is the offset that we want. Or is it 0.5? Because if you have a look right now at the position of this, it's a messed up. It's not a good position at all. We're not really allowed to have this, so let's go back. Put some debug.log in our block position if we have to, or position block, my bad. And let's think about it. So block offset, index plus block offset. What if we do index times block size plus block offset? Could that work? Okay. Seems like it was only like a weird ordering thing. Now what about the weird bug we had? If we just click here, it spawns a good place, spawns a good place. Yep, now on top. Works as well. Sorry if I'm shaky a bit. Seems to work on pretty much all axes. So I don't even think we're gonna have to address this bug at all. Right, so we made it. So we've just created our AR Lego thing. What I'd like to do is actually mess with the gameplay a bit, because this game is going to be quite boring if we don't have any gameplay. And menu, this is the menu. I want to do some menu right now. Right. let's create a canvas. Why not? Let's create a good canvas. Take a sip of tea just to make sure everything is cool. Okay, so we're gonna be building our game for landscape. Why not? Let's go with the 3x2 landscape. That's that I think is going to work. And just to make sure right now that I can actually see my canvas, I'm going to create a panel in the back. You pretty much already know about my love for panels. They're so great. Anyway, what I like to create is some kind of color palette that you can choose and then change the color of your cubes. What else do we need? We need a button to go back to see the main menu, if we do have a main menu, which I think we're gonna have in the end. So a button to go back to the main menu, a color palette that you can expand and also shrink. So in case you're like in crafting mode, you don't want to be clicking on those buttons by error. And what else? I think that's it. I think that's what we can do is create a menu. That would be so cool. We create a menu that is shrinkable, like 100% shrinkable. Everything that you see inside of the menu can just go away if you just press one button. I actually like that quite a lot. Let's give it a try. I've never done it in the past, so this should be quite entertaining. Look at me fail doing stuff, which I have been for the last 2 episodes because, you know, streaming. Good times. So I'm gonna go ahead and just create a panel that is going to dock on the very top left side, and this is going to be my first button. Basically, this is going to be my one button to solve it all. So let's call it D1. That's a good name for a button. The very special button. So that's the one special button. And also, before I do anything, let's make sure the canvas scale with screen size. In this scale, we can actually, in this case, we can actually use a landscape screen size. Let's go with 1280 by 800. That would be good. 1280, 800. And now, what could look good on your phone? We could be doing something like 150. Is that too big? I think that's fine. We'll give it a try. Might be a little bit too big. People have small finger nowadays. Let's do 125, 125 with a offset, however. So 10 in X and minus 10 in Y. That's our very first button. And okay, forget the offset. That's a little bit stupid. No offset. This one is going to be able to expand and shrink the menu. So for this to happen, we need to have an actual menu beneath it. So what I'll do is create another canvas. This is going to be the colors with an S. And this menu is gonna start, say, right here. Knowing that this is 120 in height, I can put that at 120. And bottom is also 120. Now, I will just put that on the anchor, top left anchor. And let's see. Sorry about my Skype messages. I should actually answer some of those sometimes. But not right now because we're busy making a game. So, depending on how many colors we have, I want this to be scaling up or scaling down. And what I feel like doing is we're going to have like colors in this menu. But we're also going to have some menu buttons like actual navigation on another button, another menu that is going to scale towards the right side. So we need to create something that scales pretty much based on how many children it has. Can we actually do this in this UI? We probably, yeah, there's surely a way to actually do that. Unity has a way to do everything. So we're gonna give this a try, right? I'm going to create a canvas beneath my canvas, beneath my one button, and put my colors in here, and I'll duplicate colors. Let's say that's going to be another color, so minus 240, okay, minus 250 in this case. Then let's go again, this would be minus 375, and let's just assume we have some red, some green, and some blue. This canvas is going to be called colors. And that's it. So that's gonna be my thing here. Now UI is gonna be containing my UI. So this is gonna be, say, the exit, and also a undo button would be nice, but let's do that later on. Undo is actually quite complicated to do. So on my colors, I removed, on my colors and on my UI, let's just make sure we only have a canvas renderer. Actually, we don't even have a canvas renderer. Why did I create a canvas? That's a little bit stupid. I just wanted something to contain the children's. Okay, let's move the colors out of this. Create, say, a panel. In the panel, we're going to be removing nothing, actually. Let's leave the panel. This is colors, and we can just put our color back inside of it. Okay, so this is going to make a little bit more sense. Let's not create another canvas. That was just a bad practice on my end. Because when you create a canvas, you can't remove the canvas component. So that is how my menu is going to look like. And when it's shrink, you're simply not going to be seeing those two menus. Now, why am I seeing this in double? What is behind this guy? For some reason, my color canvas actually starts here. What I'm going to do with this guy is make sure I get rid of the panel. And also, that's it. Yeah, I think we just need to get rid of the panel. Okay. So now what needs to happen is these need to scale depending on how many children they have. And I think there is something called the aspect ratio fitter. Is that? No, that's not going to work. The content size fitter is perfect. And we want this to be fitting vertically, so like that. And I think it just modified the height of this for how many children it has. Do we actually need something else? I think we need something else. I think we need to actually have a vertical layout in this. So let's try adding a vertical layout group. And now you end up with something like that, which is obviously not something we want. However, all our buttons right here, they're all stuck in there, and it actually helps us doing something else. So back on my colors, child force expand on width, that's fine. Now child force expand on height, let's remove that and go on every single one of those. Add a layout element and a minimum height of 120, I think, 125, that's what we had. And let's just make sure we do that for every single colors we have. So that's green, that is, no, that's green actually, that's blue, and finally, paste the component values. So we end up with something that does scale, which is cool, so we're able to scale. However, it's positioned in a really wrong pattern. It should be positioned here instead. So how do we go about fixing that? I think we can simply... I'm not sure if we can do that. I'm going to try something. Yeah, so that's going to work. We're going to put the anchor at the very top hand side here, holding shift at the same time. So we actually put the pivot point as well. And now we got to give it a position of 125 in Y, or minus 1.25. So we end up with something like this, and I think if we remove, say, color, it just goes away. If we add another color, simply fits the rest, and seems to work quite cool actually. So that's our color right here. We can actually just give them a small look right now. So that's going to be red. That's going to be blue. Awful color. That's supposed to be green actually. Let's do green, and then blue. Now let's pop back our one button, our very famous button. We can actually just increase the alpha of this guy, make it, say, white. And finally, let's do the exact same thing for the other UI. In fact, I'm going to be duplicating this, so colors, that would be UI instead. We're removing the vertical layout group because this time we're playing with the horizontal layout group instead. Child for expand, not on height, but on width. And we are going to be anchoring this on the left side. Like this. Now, as far as the width goes, you want to have 125 here. Position X, also 125. Or does it even matter? No, the actual size does not matter because we're putting the horizontal fit on minimum size, and the vertical fit is unconstrained. So we end up with something like this. Now we only have to put some children's in there, which we do already, but they have a minimum height, and what we're really interested in here is the minimum width. So we're going to be changing those around. And we end up with something like this. Let's do a child force expand on height actually, and not width. Okay, so we end up with something like that for our menu. Now, remember that the top menu here is only for actual menu stuff, such as leaving to the other scene, or I don't know, undo button, save button. Oh yeah, we do have save button. We gotta be saving our art. Forgot about that. And also load. So this is going to be our UI in the end. So you're playing with some Legos, and then you want to be, oh, okay, so we're gonna be spawning some blocks. Let's click on the green size, why not? And then spawn some green blocks, you know? All that kind of stuff can be done via this menu, and I think it's quite a nice looking menu. I mean, there's no texture, but I think the concept we have is gonna be quite good. What I wanted to do at this point is also make sure that this thing comes, you know, it shrinks in, so when you don't need it, it doesn't show. Now this is something I really don't know how to do. I think something we could try. That's not gonna work. What we could do is actually make them pop like this. So say the width is gonna be 0, and then when you click on the button, it just goes like that. But you know, that's not really what I'm looking for. What would be cool is simply just them moving. We could be modifying the actual the position, so when you click on the button, they are sent up here, and when you click on it again, they come down. This is something we could do that would be quite easily done. And I think we're gonna just jump right into it actually. Just start coding, and if it doesn't work, we can always turn around. We always have the option to change our stuff. I'm going to create a UI manager, which is just another empty game object, which is going to contain a script called UI manager, why not? Now on my UI manager, I am going to be including the Unity engine.ui, of course, so Unity engine.ui. We are going to be having some transform actually, so public rec transform, which is going to be our color menu, and also a public rec transform that is going to be our menu, okay, our action menu. That sounds a little bit better. All right. So, let's create some public function on the one button click. That's a very long function name. So when you click on that one special button that just do the expand and the shrinks, we're gonna be toggling on a boolean. So our menu's showing, by default it's false, and when you click on it, when you click on the one button, it's gonna say our menu showing is equal to not our menu showing. So we're just swapping them around. Now depending on if they're expanded or not, we're gonna play some kind of animation. So private void play animation, play menu animation. We're also going to need another boolean to keep track of that, so private bool menu animating. Such a good name. So when we're playing the menu animation, we're going to say menu animating is equal to true. We are going to have a float, private float menu animation transition float, and play menu animation. Okay, that's fine. On the button click, we are going to say if our menu showing, if they're currently just showing right now, we're expanding towards that, we're gonna say menu animation transition is equal to, or it should actually be equal to 1. So I'm creating some kind of logic here. Are menu showing, menu animation transition. Okay, so we're not gonna be playing with that. We're gonna be playing with we're gonna be playing with that value inside of a update every single frame. In here we'll say if menu animating, if we're currently animating the menu, then if the menu, our menu showing, if they're showing up right now, if they're playing like a show up animation, then we're gonna say menu animation transition is plus equal to time the delta time. Let's just make sure this is on a 1 second. And if we're actually past 1, so if menu animation transition is bigger or equal to 1, let's just make sure it's anchored there at 1, so it's equal to 1, and menu animating is now equal to false. We're not animating anymore. Same thing for the other axis. So if menu are not showing, but we are currently animating, it means that we need to actually decrease that float. So minus equal time the delta time. Now if menu animation transition is smaller or equal to 0, let's just make sure it is now 0, and we're done animating as well. We can probably just be putting that on way less lines than I've did, but I was just like trying to think of a logic really quickly. You know, that's what streaming does. It makes you code awfully. Nice. Where were we? Okay, so play. Okay, when we click on the button, we toggle this, and we also play menu animation. Okay, I think that's gonna be pretty much it. When we play the menu, we toggle on menu animating. Our menu showing. That's cool. That's cool. We only have to move at this point. Okay, so how do we go about moving? We need a reference to both our menu, which we do have here, so that's cool. Let's do something like colors. Anchored position. Can we actually play with anchored position? I think we can. Anchored position is going to equal, and now you do a vector3 or vector2.lerp in between the initial position, which should be, I think it's 150 in this case. That's the color menu. The color menu should be zero 125. Okay, so at the very beginning it's on the very beginning it actually depends on how many we have. So if say we have, we're going to hard code it for now. If we have that many, then we say 375 is the beginning position. So 0 and 375, that's our first lerp. So let's do new vector2. And then the second one would be our end position, which we know is always going to be the same. That's 0, 1, 35. I keep forgetting. For some reason, I don't really have a long-term memory. It's okay. It's 0, 1. That's actually minus 125. Okay, cool. Right. The transition float is our menu animation transition. And let's only try this with this one guy for now. Eventually we can move on to trying out with the other guy. At this time, we don't really have anything linked to that button, so on the one button click. So what I'll do is simply just create a small input.get key down here just to test it out. So if input get key down, and if we do get the key, say key code A, if we press on A, let's just go ahead and do the on one button click. Alright, let's try this out. Hello, this is I. No reference error, I forgot about that. Well, first we have a no reference error, not only that, but it doesn't seem like it has been updated for some reason. Okay, for some reason my save didn't work. Control S doesn't work either. Does Control Shift S work? It does. Alright, we're gonna go with that. So Control Shift S work. Now I have my color menu I can put, so let's put that here and try again. Okay. It's almost a wonderful animation. There is some bug with the beginning, but it's not too bad. It takes 1 second to actually pull and shrink, so I think that's a little bit too much. We're gonna be adding a speed to that. Private float. Animation duration say is gonna be equal to, I want this to be equal to 0.2, why not? So how do we go about doing this? I think we have to do 1, so times the delta time plus, actually no, times 1 minus animation duration. Does that make sense? So 1, that gives us 0.8. Oh, that's not going to work. That's going to make it longer, actually. Is it? I don't know, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out when it's time. Right now I don't have time to think. Let's copy this over as well. And what was my initial problem? My initial problem is that... oh, the position was not right at the beginning. It's simple as that. So it just has to be at 375 in this case. Okay, let's try that again. The time definitely did not work. But as you can tell, we don't have the same bug we've had earlier. What I feel like doing is tackling this menu really quickly. The UI menu. This one is also going to be at minus 375 in X this time. So let's just quickly copy this over. Change those values just a little bit. So here and 125 here. This would be for the UI. No, not the UI, the action menu. That's how we called it. What a good name. So Control Shift S because my other one doesn't work anymore for some reason. And let's go on the UI manager. Also add the action menu to this. And we should now end up with something really chill. If I don't forget about doing that. Doesn't work because my anchor is not at the right place, I believe. Let's go see where my anchor is. It's actually supposed to be at the right place. So 125 works. This should also work. Why is it not functioning properly? What's the position of this right now? 375, is that what we need? Do we need 375? Should it be minus 375? That's some weird behavior. I don't know why it does that. I need to find out. So, if we have a look at the right hand side here, this is on 375. It should actually be on 125. When it's over, when it is expanded, it should be on 125. So, oh, that would be here. Now the minus 125 is when it's not expanded. 375. Okay, there we go. We just mixed up some values. Those are the values I want here. So minus 375 when it starts, that's fine. And when it's completed, should be on 125x. Okay. Just messing around with those values. Why does it go positive? Did I put that on positive or negative? Am I that stupid? Alright, what if I actually swap those around? Or even better, why is my Visual Studio not even saving every time I do something? That would explain quite a lot. Okay, that's just a matter of not saving. I'm just going to shut down Visual Studio so it doesn't do that again. I hate when it does that. sometimes this software and Mono Develop is worse. By the way, don't start me on Mono Develop, but sometimes it just lose desynchronization, and you just you modify your values, things remains the same, and you just lose your head. This is so annoying. Anyway, we've got our menu. What I'd like to do before I actually just call this a day and go do some debugging session with you guys is I'd like to just have my colors being reflected in the game. So that would be a really cool mechanic we can implement. Do we have anything about colors right now? I don't think we really do. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to be creating some materials. Going to start by just taking all of those scripts that I've made in the past, put them inside of a script folder, and what can we do from here? We are going to put that in the Vuforia folder. I don't need to see those license. You acknowledge them, blah blah blah, whatever. Cool. Now artwork folder. Inside of the artwork folder, there is a material folder. And inside of the material, there is a few things you want to be putting in here. 5 materials, or 4 materials at least to start. First one being a white material, which we also need to add to these colors. We're going to need a red material, a green material, and what else do we need? We need a blue. Blue, that's the other color I was looking for. Let's quickly just change the color of those. Eventually we can have some real shaders with maybe texture on it. But right now, we have to deal with what we have. Scripts. Il n'y a pas de scripts ici, Zender. J'ai bientôt fini, ce sera pas trop long. So, what do we do with this now? We are going to be putting them on the block whenever we need to. By default, the block is going to have like a white color. We're going to go with something as simple as that. So let's see right now. So we have this going on, span some blocks on top of it. We need to convert this one, this button at the very top left, into our one button. We need to add some action to it. So here's what we're going to be doing right now. Let's put a button on it. So button component, it's linked to our image. Our image is this thing. And now we need to add the function. Now the function, we already have that. If you guys remember, we have the function because it is inside of the UI manager. So let's create a new on-click event. Just drag and drop that here. Find on the one button click. And here we go. So we go here, we click that, and we get our buttons just displaying. Now the next thing we'll need to do is make sure that every single one of those have also a button component to it. So I'll go inside the red, type in button, and at this point we figure out that we need another function. So let's go create another function real quick. We can be doing that under the we should be doing that under, should we do that under the UI manager? No, I think we're going to be doing that under the actual game. Okay, let's head over to the game manager. Create a public function to change the color. So public void change block color. It's going to take in a parameter, maybe a string, maybe a int. I'm feeling more like an int actually. So let's go with int color, and then we can do, say, switch on which color it is. So assume that we have the color 1, so case 1. Let's just say that's going to be red. We can also create a num for that, but let's leave it like that for now since we only have like 4 colors. Okay, so case 1 is going to be white actually, case 2 is going to be red, blue, green, and so on. So case 2, 3, and 4, that's red, green, and blue. And when we change color, we should be setting it somewhere in this actual script. So let's collapse everything. Let's make some place here. And we could have a int. Now that I'm thinking about it, we could have a int that just contains the selected color. But that's going to be a little bit annoying to look at. So create a public enum color or block color. And we'll end up just giving those values. So let's go ahead and just say white is going to be equal to 1. The same one as our int down here. We might as well change that since we're here. So white is equal to 1, red is going to be equal to 2, green 3, and finally blue is equal to 4. Now in our fields up here we have a public block color, which is going to be the selected color. When we start, selected color is going to equal white. Oops. Block color dot white. Sorry about that. And down here, we're going to be casting our int as a selected color, as a block color. The reason I think we can't really put that as a parameter, since we're going to be calling this from a button. The button doesn't really know about our own custom enum. So we're going to be casting this int into a block color just down here. So block color that we're going to call C is equal to int. Actually, is equal to block is can we do equal to color? Doesn't seem to work. So block color in front of it, color. Then we can do a switch on C, and if C is white, so if block color white, then we do our logic. Same thing for this guy, and this one, and this one. Red, green, and blue. So it's a little bit better like that, so at least you can read yourself. And you know, we call this from, we're going to be calling this from the actual buttons. So do we even need a switch case in this? No, we don't even need a switch case anymore. All we really have to say is selected color is equal to color. That's really all we need to do. Of course, you cast it prior. Okay, so forget about the switch case. That's all we have to do in this call. And when we create something, when we create our actual block, we need to assign it the good material. Now, do we keep track of the materials? I don't think we do here. We don't have any array for those materials. Sometimes I feel like actually putting them inside of a resource folder and accessing them from there. But since we don't have a lot, we can actually just put them inside of a array, simple array. And I don't think we're ever gonna have like say 20 materials, because we don't have enough space on the screen to just display them first. But second, I mean, we don't really need that much in the end. So should we actually just create an array with that? I think we are going to create an array, and we are also going to make sure that those up here, those access the index of that array. So I'll just move them one back. Say white is going to be 0, red's going to be 1, and blue is going to be 3. And just below that, I'm going to have a public material array. Block materials. This one is going to be declared in my inspector, actually. So if we go down here, we head over to our game manager. We now have a block material array. Let's make sure this is an array of 4, because we have 4 material. Let's put them in the right order. So white, red, green, and blue. And we should now be able to access this array using the index of, access the good material using the selected color index. Okay, so back to spawning that actual block. We can actually spawn the block in the update. So over here, when we instantiate a block, we can be creating a function to instantiate a block. Let's actually do that. So private game object create block. And we're going to say geo is equal to create block on both end then we modify it like we do. But the reason I want to do this is simply because if I want to be putting some more stuff in that later on, I can actually do everything that I want right here. In our create block, we simply do a return instantiate. Well, we don't want to return it just yet. Let's store it inside of a private field. Let's do game object, not private, but a scoped field. Game object geo is equal to instantiate as a game object, of course. Then on that game object, we gotta be finding the material and also assign it. So how do we go about getting the material? I think it's something like geo.getComponent. Oh, do we have renderer? I think we do have. But it's deprecated. That function doesn't exist anymore, basically. So we'll do a getComponent renderer. And that renderer has material on it. So assume material is the one we're looking for. It is a set get, so we can actually set the material. And we're going to be setting it to our block materials. The index that we want to actually get is the selected color that you have to cast as an int. Then at this point we can do return geo, and I think it's gonna work actually. Let's give it a try. Oh wait, we don't have any means to change the color at this point. So the rest of what we have to do is gonna be done via the actual game. Let's go on every single one of our buttons, the first one being the red, add a new function. And what else could we be doing? We could be doing, where is my script? It's on the game manager. Drag and drop the game manager in here, find the change color, and this one is red, so we're changing this to 1 because 1 is equal to red, as you can tell up here in our enum. Which makes me think we also need a button for white. But I think we can test this out first, so let's copy this over to the green. We change block, but this time we change to the color number 2. And one more for blue. This one is 3. And it should actually work out well. Let's try this out. So I have my block here. I spawned some white, that's fine. Click on red, spawn some red, green, and blue here. So that is going to be pretty much our logic here. And sorry if the camera is shaky a bit, my lighting is kind of bad, and my paper is all messed up. So here we go, have some kind of color going on. We can actually build on top of that, and you'll create our little castle like we've done last episode. Let's actually just create a castle. But before we do that, I am going to add the white color to that super fast. Let's put it at the right place in the arrow. This is going to be white, and the white color is going to have, say, a white image, because good times. We're going to need to actually change the position of this thing. So it's no longer at 375, it's going to be at 500, I believe. This also has to be changed via the code. So if you remember, when we position our menu that's inside of the UI manager, we are going to be doing, where is it? Right here, I believe. And here we go. So let's take a final look at this thing, build our castle like we actually used to do. So, oh, I forgot to change the actual parameter here. So on white, gotta be changing that to 0. Alright, let's try this. So we have our paper, that's our board. It's usually, this is supposed to be on the floor, right? Because right now I'm not gonna be holding this forever. And on top of this, we can play with the colors a bit. So let's go ahead and make a castle that has green all around it. And oh my god, this is going to take way longer than I expected. Sorry about that. I'm just having a good time. I'm actually not moving my mouse, I'm just moving the paper in real life. So here we go. Okay, so we have our nice frame here. Let's oh, you know what? Let's create a heart shape. I'm gonna try to create the best heart. This is a bit stupid at this point. Okay, imagine that it didn't suck at this, it could probably look good. Hey, it's not too bad actually. These moments you tell yourself, what am I doing with my life? Okay, so assume that this would be a really nice looking heart, and we can also just show off that we have some more colors by putting some blue around it. Ugh. That blue might be a little bit too much. Still, this is what I've created. Check this out, Mom. XOXO Gossip Girls. This is great. Anyway, let's take a small screen cap here for the actual thumbnail. Gonna be this is gonna be on the channel, by the way. So if I can just get my focus again. This is my paper. Thumbnail this. Thinking about YouTube a bit. Alright. Very nice. So guys, this is where I'm going to conclude today's stream. I am going to be doing some kind of debugging session after this, so if you guys want to stick around, have a look at your bugs a bit, look at the projects you have. I'm going to be sticking around for that, but for now I will end the recording. And like I said, this is going to be on the channel, so if you want to have like a look again at the code, you can do that as many times as you want, actually. So thanks so much for sticking around, and I will see you guys soon.